Pragmatics is the actual use of language. So we have basically speech acts which are used very, very early, just for what we call pragmatic. Pragmatic is the function or the application of language. So it has three levels, and the most basic level is a speech act where you ask for something or you don't want something. And children very, very young, even at the pre-verbal stage, will show this ability. So a child who no longer wants any more food will turn their head and may even say, no, no, right? So again, all you're using language for here is to say you don't want something, or maybe you do want something, you know, toy, or me want, right? Or they point to something. So again, the function here is just to request or to refuse. Some more command type of a level here. Discourse is where most of us are going to engage in. This is the level that we use most often. And this is basically language conversation, everyday conversations where we have, an interplay of language. And of course, there are certain skills that you need to learn, which a child often does not possess, which is taking turns and waiting for the other person to finish what they're saying and then responding. But even babies get the idea of turn taking. Even if you're playing with a child and they don't even speak yet, and you squeeze a toy, and then you give it to them and they squeeze the toy, they will wait for you to squeeze it again. They get that idea of my turn, your turn, my turn. And when you stop, they get all upset, right? So like if you don't squeeze it, they'll give you the toy, they'll be shaking it, they'll be screaming, getting the idea, hey, it's your turn, right? So even really young children get the idea of taking turns here. This last one here is social referential communication. I'm going to show you a scene from your book on the next page. And what this is basically imagine that you are trying to describe something to somebody who can't see it, or who is seeing it from an opposite vantage point than you. Or let's say one of the worst things is being on, here's a good example, being on the telephone with one of the people from Microsoft or Apple for tech support, or even Rogers for tech support, and then they're guiding you through what you have to do to get your computer working again, which is sometimes horrendous for people who don't have a lot of skills in computers. My mother goes ballistic whenever her computer breaks down and she has to call these people. She can't deal with it, right? She just has a mental collapse. So I have to take over and tell her what to do over the phone, and I go crazy because she doesn't understand what I'm saying, right? So again, it's very difficult to try and describe in language that somebody else understands if they don't have all the information available to them. So what they try to do here, and this is usually tested in a laboratory, and again, it's called the assessment of social referential communication. And what they'll do is they'll have two children, these look like adults, but they're supposed to be children, and they'll test them at different ages and just see what is the development of their cognitive skills, because you're going to need a lot of cognitive skills to be able to understand what this person understands or what they don't understand, or why they're not getting the message clearly, how to rephrase what I'm telling you. So basically what they do is they have this partition between the two children, and they have the identical array of stimuli here. So they'll have blocks, they'll have stacking pegs, they'll have all different things that they have to do. And this person, one is designated the listener, the other one is designated the speaker. And what they have to do is the speaker has to tell the listener what to do. So I want to describe to you some sequence that you have to perform with the things that you have over here. So take the blue, take the orange block, put it on first, whatever the case is. And the listener has to be able to follow what you're saying and give feedback. I don't understand what you said. Which one? Not this one. So again, if a child is in that egocentric stage, not going to be a very good way to do this. They might not even tell the person what they have to do. That this guy here might point at it and say, take this one here, right? And the person's over here doesn't even know what you're talking about. This person, if they're really young, might go ahead and just take the one that they see first and not tell the person, well, I don't know which one you're referring to, right? So it can be really funny to watch two young children try and give instructions to one or the other without having privy to what they can see and what they can understand. As children get older, they start to realize that they have to be more specific. They have to word the questions that this person can understand, that they may be seeing it from a different viewpoint, right? They don't have the information I have. So again, it requires not only language, but cognitive ability as well, all right? So this is what they do for children of various ages. And it seems that this doesn't really develop fully until the 5 years old, right? So it takes quite a while to develop this skill.